Stop everything you are doing right now. I don't care if you're at work, at the dinner table, or about to head to bed. You need to see this right now. What I'm about to tell you happened literally 3 minutes ago. And as I sit here, the smoke is still rising over Baghdad. The world you woke up in this morning is gone. The geopolitical floor has dropped out from under us. The mainstream media, the corporate mouthpieces in DC and New York, they won't cover this. They can't cover this. Why? Because the truth I'm about to reveal represents the single greatest military humiliation in American history. We have just received confirmed reports from deep asset sources within the theater of operations. Iran's specialized drone divisions have just executed a precision strike that has liquidated 5 U.S. Black Hawk helicopters right on the tarmac at a strategic base in Baghdad. If you're watching this, you're likely seeing the title and thinking, Scott, is it really over? I am here to tell you, yes, it is over. The era where the United States could dictate terms through the threat of air power has ended in a hail of carbon fiber and high explosives. This is the plan B the Pentagon said was impossible. They told you our air defenses were a dome shield. They told you the Iranians were using lawnmower engines. They lied. You need to stay with me for the next few minutes because what I'm going to show you, the technical breakdown of how our billion-dollar defenses were bypassed by $20,000 toys, will change your entire understanding of national security. Don't click away. If you leave now, you are choosing to remain blind while the fire spreads. I'm going to give you the full picture that no one else has the guts to say out loud. To understand the gravity of 5 Black Hawks burning in Baghdad, we have to look at how we were led into this trap. For years, having spent my career in Marine Corps intelligence and as a weapons inspector, I've warned about the deterrence gap. We've been fed a narrative of American exceptionalism that hasn't been updated since 1991. We've seen the shadow war simmering. We saw the strikes on the merchant vessels. We saw the proportional responses from the Biden administration that did nothing but embolden the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. The mainstream media treated those events like isolated incidents. They weren't. They were kinetic probes. The Iranians weren't just firing at targets. They were conducting the most sophisticated real-world laboratory experiment in military history. They were measuring the cycle rate of our CRAM systems. They were mapping the radar shadows created by the urban sprawl of Baghdad. They were waiting for the moment when our integrated air and missile defense was stretched too thin. The intelligence community knew this was the end game. I've seen the classified assessments from 3 months ago, reports that the White House buried because the truth was too politically damaging. They knew that Iran had moved from harassment to interdiction capabilities, but they didn't tell you. They let our boys sit on those tarmacs like sitting ducks. And now, 3 minutes ago, the bill for that arrogance was delivered. This isn't a skirmish, it's a total system failure. And stay with me because what I'm about to describe, the actual physics of the attack, reveals a level of Iranian technological sophistication that the Pentagon is currently in a state of absolute shock over. Let's get into the ground truth. Imagine the scene at the Baghdad Diplomatic Support Center just off the main airport. It's a hive of activity. You've got 5 Sikorsky UH-60 Black Hawks, the backbone of our mobility, prepped for a high-priority transport mission. These aren't just helicopters, they are the literal lifeblood of our presence in Iraq. Suddenly, the sky turns into a nightmare. Witnesses are describing Wave 55 of Operation True Promise 4. It wasn't a single drone, it was a saturation swarm of 35 Shahed series kamikaze drones utilizing a low observable terrain-hugging flight path. They didn't come from the east. They came from the north-northwest, using the city's high-rises to mask their acoustic signature. The sirens didn't go off until the first drone slammed into the lead Blackhawk's rotor assembly. The sound, it's something you never forget. It's a high-pitched whine, followed by a concussive thud that rattles your teeth. Then, the orange sky. The fuel cells on a Blackhawk hold hundreds of gallons of high-octane jet fuel. When they go with a roar that can be felt 5 miles away. The drones didn't all hit at once. They hit in 3-second intervals. This is designed specifically to overwhelm the reload and reacquire cycle of the Phalanx CRAM. Our defense systems were firing. The death rattle of the 20 millimeter rounds was continuous, but for every drone they shot down, three more found their mark. Five hulls are now complete losses. We are talking about $100 million in hardware liquidated in less than 180 seconds. The tarmac is literally melting. The heat is so intense that emergency crews can't even get within 200 yards. But here's the most alarming part. While the helicopters were burning, our satellite links went amber. We were blinded at the exact moment of the strike. This wasn't just a drone hit, it was a multi-domain suppression of US power. And keep watching, because what happens next isn't just about Iraq. It's about your neighborhood, your bank account, and the safety of your family. But here's what's even more alarming. The strike in Baghdad was just the starting gun. As those Black Hawks were being turned into scrap metal, we received frantic reports from the Red Sea. The U.S. Fifth Fleet has reportedly gone to general quarters. Three of our Aegis-class destroyers are currently engaging unknown underwater signatures. Do you hear me? This is escalating to the subsurface level in real time. Hezbollah has just moved its long-range precision-guided munitions out of storage. In Syria, our base at Al-Tanf is currently under a total interdiction rocket barrage. We are seeing a 360-degree theater-level collapse. And the superpowers? They are silent, but their actions speak volumes. My sources in military intelligence indicate that the Russian Federation has just moved three A-50 early warning aircraft to the border of Iraq. They are watching us bleed. China has reportedly frozen all U.S. Treasury auctions in the overnight markets. The economy is going to feel this within hours. You think inflation is bad now? Wait until the war premium hits the oil markets. We are looking at a projected $150 per barrel price point by Monday morning. This isn't just a war over there. This is a war that is coming for your retirement fund, your gas tank, and your peace of mind. The stakes keep climbing, and the plateau is nowhere in sight. Every minute the White House stays silent, the more certain the total regional war becomes, having spent years analyzing theater-level conflicts and having been on the ground in these environments. I can tell you that the official story you'll hear tomorrow is a lie. They will tell you it was a minor equipment loss. They will tell you no personnel were harmed. I've seen the internal memos. They are already drafting the redacted versions of this event. But I have the full picture. The reason these five Blackhawks were targeted wasn't random. They were the specific airframes equipped with the Link 16 encrypted communication nodes. By taking them out, Iran didn't just destroy helicopters. They decapitated our ability to coordinate airstrikes in the region. The mainstream media doesn't have the technical literacy to understand this. They see a fire, I see a strategic blackout. They see a drone strike, I see a masterclass in asymmetrical warfare that has rendered our trillion-dollar carrier groups obsolete. I'm telling you this because no one else will. The experts on CNN are paid by the very defense contractors who built the failed CRAM systems. They aren't going to tell you the truth because the truth hurts their stock price. But I don't care about their stock price. I care about the truth harsher than anything you've heard in the last 20 years. Stay with me. The thing I teased at the beginning, the reason why this specific strike means it's over for American dominance. Now, I want you to listen very carefully to what I'm about to say. This is the piece of the puzzle that changes everything. The five Black Hawks that were destroyed 3 minutes ago. My sources inside the theater command have confirmed something that will make your skin crawl. Two of the drones that hit those helicopters didn't carry high explosive warheads. They carried inert kinetic penetrators. Do you understand the significance? Iran chose not to use maximum lethality. They purposely used inert rounds on half the targets to send a message to the Joint Chiefs of Staff. That message is, we can hit any square inch of your base with such precision that we can choose whether you live or die. We are in control of your casualty count. This is a psychological decapitation. It is a checkmate move. Iran just proved that our soldiers are essentially hostages on these bases. They showed that they can bypass our defenses at will, and they are choosing to be merciful for now. That is why it's over. When your enemy can dictate the terms of your survival on your own base, you are no longer a superpower. You are an occupant waiting for permission to leave. The Pentagon knows this. That's why they aren't talking. They are currently scrambling to figure out how to spin a total surrender as a strategic repositioning. This is the truth the mainstream media won't cover. This is the reality of the 21st century battlefield. Our high tech invincibility was a facade, and a swarm of $20,000 drones just tore it down. I feel the same anger you do. I feel the same grief for the state of our nation. We've been betrayed by a leadership class that is more interested in virtue signaling than in protecting the men and women we put in harm's way. It makes me furious to think about those Black Hawks, the finest machines ever built, burning because we didn't have the courage to admit that our defenses were outdated. It makes me sick to think about the parents of those soldiers watching the news tonight, being told everything is fine, while their sons and daughters are breathing in the toxic fumes of a burning base. But we can't afford to just be angry. We have to be informed. We have to be ready. As the U.S. presence in Iraq collapses tonight, you are going to see a vacuum, and that vacuum will be filled by forces that do not have your best interests at heart. This is happening in real time. This isn't a history book. This is happening as you watch this video. Every hour we wait for a response is another hour the Iranians and their allies consolidate their win. Stay with me because we're not done. There is one more layer to this that involves the nuclear threshold, and it's the most terrifying part of this entire briefing. What comes next? The worst case scenario is no longer a scenario, it's the likely outcome. With the U.S. conventional deterrent shattered in Baghdad, the only card left in Washington's hand is the nuclear option. And I am telling you, as someone who has studied nuclear doctrine for decades, we have never been closer to the flashpoint. If the U.S. attempts to retaliate with heavy bombers, Iran has already signaled that their response phase 2 involves the total destruction of every oil refinery in the eastern province of Saudi Arabia. That would trigger a global dark ages scenario. We are looking at a world where the power goes out, the shelves go empty, and the dollar becomes worthless paper, all because we couldn't admit that 5 helicopters in Baghdad were the canary in the coal mine. The what comes next is a total withdrawal from the Middle East, followed by a domestic economic collapse that will dwarf 2008. The mainstream media will try to tell you it's transitory. They'll try to tell you it's under control. I've given you the truth. I've given you the technical data, the tactical reality, and the strategic consequences of what happened 3 minutes ago. But there is one more thing, something that just hit my desk as I was speaking. There are reports of a massive cyber attack currently hitting the U.S. Eastern Interconnect, the power grid. Is it related to the Baghdad strike? Is this the phase 3 the Iranians promised? I am going to be digging into this over the next hour. I am contacting my sources in the NSA and the private security sector. You need to stay tuned to this channel. Do not, and I repeat, do not, rely on the evening news for this. They are 3 steps behind, and they are being told what to say. Hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications, because the next update I give could be the most important one of your life. It could be the difference between being prepared and being a victim. By the end of this night, you will understand exactly why I said it's over. Stay vigilant, stay informed. I'm Scott Ritter. I'm not going anywhere. Keep watching, because the next 24 hours will determine the next 24 years of American life.